Have you ever started something full of excitement, only to leave it unfinished? What if I told you one secret that contributes silently undermine your success? This is the story of a person who faced the same destruction, but managed to save himself just in time. And what saved him can save you too. Harry was a 28-year-old painter with extraordinary creativity. His small art gallery was filled with colors, sketches, and canvases. But if you looked closely, something felt strange. Almost every painting was unfinished. A landscape without the sky, a portrait without the eyes, a sunset without the final glow. Customers often walked into his gallery and paused in confusion. "Is this painting completed?" someone would ask. Harry would smile politely. "Soon," he would reply. But that soon never came. Weeks passed. Months passed. The unfinished paintings slowly became a silent story about Harry himself. And little by little, people stopped trusting his words. Harry's father was a famous businessman, respected in the town for decades. Whenever he visited the gallery, he would quietly observe the unfinished canvases. One evening, he said gently, "Son, art is not about how many projects you start. It is about service and credibility. People trust the artist who finishes." Harry nodded seriously. "This time will be different," he promised. "The next painting I start, I will finish it." And he truly meant it. But life had a strange way of trapping him again. Sometimes the exact paint color he wanted wasn't available in the market. Sometimes the varnish ran out. Sometimes he thought, "This painting deserves something even better." Instead of using substitutes and finishing the work, Harry would wait for perfection. Days passed. When the material never arrived, he would slowly start another project. And the same cycle repeated, again and again. Soon Harry felt trapped in a pattern he couldn't break. Every incomplete painting felt like a silent accusation. Every night, he lay in bed staring at the ceiling, surrounded by unfinished work. His whisper filled the dark room. "Why didn't I finish what I started? What's wrong with me?" The question echoed in the silence. One morning, something unexpected happened. Harry received a career-defining opportunity. The mayor's daughter came to his gallery. She wanted Harry to design a vintage wedding card for her wedding. "This card is very important to me," she said carefully. Harry's heart filled with determination. This is my chance. He began working with passion. He researched designs, mixed the perfect colors, created beautiful floral patterns. Customers visiting the gallery stopped and admired the card. "Harry, this is your best work." For the first time in months, he felt proud. But then, while he was working on the cards, he would wait for cards to dry before adding more details to it. He thought, what if I also craft a small watercolor painting gift for Mayor's daughter? It will make the package even more special. And surely I will keep painting simple. So it will take a little time till cards will get dry. He placed the card aside for a moment for drying. Just a moment. The watercolor started simply. But then another idea came. And another. Soon Harry began chasing perfection again. He changed the background. Then the details. Hours turned into days. Meanwhile, the wedding card quietly remained in the corner of the table. And then the due date arrived. The mayor's daughter walked into the gallery expecting her card. Harry froze. The card was still unfinished. Her face slowly changed from excitement to disappointment. "I trusted you with something important," she said softly. Without anger, without shouting, just disappointment. She left the gallery and hired another artist. That moment shattered Harry. He lost the project. He lost the money. But worse than that, he lost his reputation. Harry collapsed on the floor of his gallery. Around him were dozens of unfinished paintings staring back like silent witnesses. For the first time, he cried. Not quietly, but like someone who had finally realized what he had done to himself. That evening, unable to bear the weight of his own failure, Harry walked far outside the town. The road eventually led him to a small house with a tiny art gallery. Inside, customers were smiling and admiring beautiful paintings. Everything looked complete, polished, finished. The gallery belonged to an elderly artist named Samuel. People knew him for two things: his perfect craftsmanship and his unbreakable commitment. Harry watched silently as Samuel worked calmly, finishing one painting before starting another. When night came, Samuel closed the gallery. Harry finally gathered the courage to knock on the door. Samuel opened it. He looked at Harry's red, tired eyes, but he asked no questions. He made no judgments. He simply stepped aside and said, "Come in." Harry entered. The house and the gallery were simple but perfectly organized. Every brush had a place. Every painting had a frame. Every task looked complete. It felt peaceful. For a moment he hesitated, then finally spoke. "My name is Harry," he said gently. "I saw people visiting your gallery tonight, and they looked happy. Your gallery is organized, your paintings are finished, your customers trust you." He paused, his voice slightly heavy. "How do you manage everything so perfectly? I'm young, energetic, I have so many ideas, but somehow I never manage to complete my work." Samuel looked at him calmly, but he didn't answer. Instead, the old artist walked toward his table, picked up a sketchbook, and began drawing quietly. Harry watched in silence as Samuel's pencil moved across the paper. Quick sketches appeared: trees, mountains, rivers, little fragments of landscapes. After a few minutes, Samuel closed the sketchbook, picked up a blank canvas, and placed it on a wooden frame. Then he looked at Harry. "Harry," he said softly, pointing at the empty canvas. "Inside this canvas I can already see a beautiful landscape painting." Harry looked at the blank surface. To him, it was just white cloth. "But right now," Samuel continued, "that beauty is invisible to everyone else. My job is to craft it, stroke by stroke, until the invisible becomes real." Samuel dipped his brush into paint and began spreading broad colors across the canvas. Blues and greens blended together to create the background. After a few moments, he stopped suddenly. He stepped back and shrugged. "If I stop now," he said, "this painting looks absurd, messy and worthless." The canvas truly looked strange. Random colors without meaning. Then Samuel picked up a pencil and started sketching faint outlines of mountains and trees over the paint. Again he paused. "If I quit here," he said calmly, "it still looks rough and meaningless." Harry nodded slowly. Samuel then continued painting. His movements were patient and deliberate. The mountains slowly took shape. A river appeared between them. Light reflected on the water. Tiny trees began growing along the hills. Minutes passed. The painting slowly transformed into a peaceful landscape glowing with quiet beauty. Samuel stepped back and smiled. "But if I keep going until the end," he said, "a beautiful landscape emerges." He turned toward Harry. "Now I haven't just started something, I have created something complete, something meaningful, something valuable." Harry stared at the canvas, feeling something shift inside his mind. Samuel wiped his brush and continued. "Every project goes through 3 stages." He raised 3 fingers. "Start, energetic, exciting, full of ideas. Middle, hard, confusing, boring, and frustrating. End, proud, satisfying, and meaningful." Samuel looked directly into Harry's eyes. And the truth is, most people quit in the middle. The room fell silent. Samuel's next words landed slowly, but powerfully. "Accomplishment is not about motivation, Harry. Motivation fades. Accomplishment comes from staying consistent, even when things are not going well." Those words struck deep inside Harry's mind like a hammer. For the first time, he understood his real problem. It wasn't lack of talent. It was abandoning the middle. Harry returned to town the next morning. His gallery still looked the same. Unfinished canvases, leaning against the walls like ghosts of broken promises. But this time, something inside him had changed. A few days later, a small opportunity arrived. A man walked into the gallery and said, "I want a painting as a birthday gift for my mother." The order was simple, but for Harry, it felt like a test. He accepted it. This time, he started the painting with calm focus. He worked carefully, remembering Samuel's words. Soon the familiar problems appeared. One afternoon, the canvas tore slightly at the corner while he was adjusting it. Old Harry would have stopped immediately. He would have searched for a new canvas. He would have delayed the project and maybe abandoned it. But this time, he paused, looked carefully, and thought differently. Instead of restarting, he cleverly blended that damaged corner into the painting. The flaw disappeared beautifully. For the first time in years, Harry finished a painting, and he finished it one day before the deadline. When the man came to collect the gift, his face lit up with happiness. "This is beautiful," he said sincerely. Harry felt something warm rise inside his chest. It was a feeling he had almost forgotten: pride. But he didn't celebrate for long. Instead of resting or chasing a new idea, Harry turned back to his gallery and began completing his old unfinished projects one by one. No jumping between ideas. No abandoning halfway. One canvas at a time. Sometimes the work felt boring. Sometimes frustrating. Sometimes slow. But Harry kept going. As a gesture of apology, he personally delivered finished paintings to old clients who had once lost trust in him. Slowly, something remarkable happened. People began noticing the change. The same customers who once doubted him started returning. Trust returned. And with trust came reputation. Years passed. Harry's gallery slowly transformed. The messy room of abandoned beginnings became a place of finished masterpieces. Paintings hung neatly on the walls. Visitors came to admire them. Clients came to collect their orders with smiles, and Harry managed everything with quiet discipline. One evening, as he looked around his organized gallery filled with completed work, he remembered the night he had knocked on Samuel's door with red eyes and a broken heart. He smiled softly, because the greatest masterpiece Harry had ever created was not a painting. It was the habit of finishing what he started.